I have been doing Doordash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub ever since COVID hit. I was inspired by a YouTuber named Wilser to master my market and push these apps to the limit to make as much money as I could. Today, I want to teach you every single in and out I have learned about multi-apping. I know that this video is significantly longer than my usual videos, but there is so much information that I have for you guys today. No matter how experienced you are at multi-apping, I highly suggest you stick around, as I almost guarantee there will be something for you to learn, and if I miss anything, I would love to have a conversation about it in the comments below. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Count what you have now, don't count what you don't have.
I think that the easiest way to break this down is to talk about the 3 different ways that you can multi-app. The first, and by far the easiest way to multi-app, is the pause strategy. I recommend every driver, regardless of how new you are, start experimenting with the pause strategy. The pause strategy consists of running multiple apps, for example Doordash and Uber Eats. At the start of your shift, you would turn on both apps at the same time and wait for an order that meets your standards to come through. The first subpoint that absolutely needs to be discussed is standards. When you are multi-apping, you have to understand that you have the ability to decline as many orders as you want. You need to set a minimum pay amount and avoid higher mileage to replicate my strategy. Personally, in my market, DoorDash hides tips on orders that are $6.25 for 1 to 3 miles, so my minimum order throughout the day is $6.25 for no more than 3 miles. If the order is more than 3 miles, I would be looking for more like $8+ and would rarely accept anything at all over 6 miles away. When you run multiple apps, you can be much more picky about your standards, but your standards are something that you will need to figure out in your market. Something that needs to be made clear is that every market is different and you need to get out there yourself and figure out what works and what doesn't work. I can only give you so much general advice, the rest needs to be pieced together by you. Back to the pause strategy. So you get to your zone, turn on all your apps, and wait for a good order to come in. Once you have accepted an order, you would pause all your other apps and proceed to complete that single delivery. When you're 2 to 3 minutes away from the drop-off, I recommend unpausing on all the apps to begin searching for your next order. The benefit of accepting an order when you're 2 to 3 minutes away from your first drop-off is that it will give the restaurant some extra time to have the order ready for you. Not only does this keep the adrenaline going, but time truly is money, and the more orders you can do per hour, typically the more you can make. The exception to that is obviously large orders. One catering order could pay out 5 to 6 small orders worth of pay, and that's why I recommend once you get comfortable with the pause strategy, you quickly move on to the no pause strategy. I know that the names aren't the most original, but work with me here. The no pause strategy basically consists of the same thing, except you never pause your apps. The main downside of this is you will constantly be receiving notifications and other offers, and some people find this distracting. If that is you, that is totally fine, and the pause strategy will work great, but for those of you that are really trying to maximize your earnings, just keep watching as there's a lot to learn. The reason why I never pause my apps is because sometimes that catering order does come through. You need to understand which apps you can cancel on so that you can make yourself available when these opportunities arise. Uber Eats is by far the most lenient when it comes to cancellation. I'm currently sitting somewhere around a 36% cancellation rate, and that's totally fine. DoorDash is much less lenient, but still has lots of flexibility. You can go as low as 80%, but what some people don't know is you can actually push it a little bit lower than that, but I wouldn't risk it. According to DoorDash, if a dasher's completion rate is below 80%, they may be subject to deactivation once they have accepted at least 20 orders. This means that if you happen to hit 78 or 79%, you would still have 20 orders to boost it up. Not only do you need to understand cancellation, but you need to understand which restaurants are slow and how late you can be to pickups. I won't go into too much detail, as I'm sure you've heard other gig tubers stress this, but knowing which restaurants are efficient is a huge key to multi-apping. In my market, Chipotle is super quick, which I know is unheard of. Chopped is usually pretty good to me, and so is McAllister's. Those are probably my top 3 to stack orders from, because I know when I walk in the store, the order will more than likely be ready. I try to avoid stacking orders from restaurants like Taco Bell, Uncle Julio's, or Sonic, because I'll know I'll have to wait at least 5 minutes at those stores. I said it before, but time is money when you're doing this. One huge subpoint I briefly mentioned a second ago was understanding how late you can be to pick up an order. There's a huge misconception about this, and I don't hear any gig tubers talking about this. I'm sure part of it is moral, as doing this will have the food sitting at the restaurant getting cold, but this video is about how you can maximize your earnings by multi-apping. According to DoorDash, a delivery is considered late when the amount of time taken to travel to the merchant and or the customer, example 20 minutes, exceeds the estimated time, taking into factors outside of your control, example wait time at merchant. It is not based on the suggested arrival times in the app, example 1 p.m. We use Google Maps to calculate how long each delivery should take, taking into account reasonable and safe travel times and real-time traffic conditions. We also take into account your chosen transportation type. Take, for example, that our estimate indicates that it should take 20 minutes for the dasher to arrive at the merchant and another 20 minutes to arrive at the customer based on real-time conditions. A dasher accepts the delivery opportunity at 5 p.m., and the app indicates that the dasher should arrive at the merchant by 5:20 p.m. and the customer by 5:40 p.m. The order will not be considered late if the dasher arrives at the merchant by 5:30 p.m. and the customer by 5:50 p.m. Wait time at the merchant does not count against dashers because calculations are based on estimated travel time. Late orders due to batching, Doordash system outages, or other extenuating circumstances are not considered contract violations and are also excluded from this process. So what does this mean, and how can we take advantage of this? Well, first of all, you can be up to 9 minutes late to confirm arrival at the store. If you are any more than 10 minutes late to mark that you have arrived at the store, you are risking a contract violation, and I would cancel the order at that point. But how can we stretch this 9 minutes out even further? Doordash makes it clear that wait time at the merchant during pickup does not count against dashers because calculations are based on estimated travel time. What this means is as soon as you confirm arrival, you can click that there is an issue and that the order is still being prepared. What this does is it makes Doordash think that you are sitting at the restaurant waiting for the order, so at that point, you can be significantly later than 9 minutes past the pickup time. I do not want to be responsible for any deactivations, so I will not talk about some of the crazy times I have pushed for orders that I couldn't turn down, but I'm telling you for a fact that you can go past the 9-minute timer if you confirm arrival. This is very effective if you will be passing a restaurant on your way to a drop-off. You would be able to mark that you've arrived at the store, so Doordash would think you're waiting on the order, when in reality, you're dropping off an Uber order first and giving the restaurant more time to prepare the order. The main reason that going past the 9-minute timer is necessary is because you'll often be able to drop off an Uber order first, but that's part of the third strategy.
Count what you have now, don't count what you don't have.
Once you're completely comfortable with running all of the apps all the time and you aren't overwhelmed by it, you're ready to really push it to the next level. To maximize your earnings, you need to minimize your dead miles. Not only does that mean taking only short distance deliveries, but ideally you want to make multiple pickups at the same time and multiple drops at the same time versus going back and forth and back and forth. I think that the best way to represent my strategy is to just show a Google Maps view of a route I did this last Friday. At first, I had accepted a $7 Doordash order. As I was in the store, I received a $6 for 2-mile order on Uber, sort of en route, so I accepted it. I waited about 3 minutes in the first store, but they were making no progress. During that time, Uber stacked me with an additional $8 for half a mile, so I accepted that too. That $8 order was going to drag me pretty far off route and add a little bit of time for the Doordash drop-off, so I decided to just cancel the Doordash. One quick subpoint I want to make is your app priority. You have to understand what the customers can see. On both Doordash and Uber Eats, the customers can see your exact location at any time. That's why it's so crucial to be efficient and ideally pick up from restaurants that are nearby or en route. Personally, I prioritize my Uber drop-offs as Uber gives customers up to an hour to completely take away our tip. On Doordash, the most they can really do is give you a bad rating, but if you follow my advice to mark orders as being prepared and wait 10 minutes to confirm pickup, you will not receive any bad ratings. According to Doordash, to help make ratings more fair, we remove any customer ratings you receive that are below 5 stars in these situations. Long wait times at restaurants. So I head to Chipotle to pick up both of the orders. As I'm crossing the street, Doordash sends me a $9 and some change order from Papa John's en route. Another huge key is learning street names in your market. Uber Eats does not always provide a great map of the order like Doordash, so knowing street names is crucial to stacking with Uber Eats and Doordash. As I was in Chipotle waiting for the second order to come out, Grubhub sent me an $11 and some change order for about 3 miles that would be a great endpoint to my route, so I stacked that up too. One of the Uber orders were ready for me, and the second only took about 2 minutes. After I got them, I put them in the hot bag, and then I headed towards Papa John's without confirming pickup on Uber Eats. The reason I do this is because if the customer were to check at any point in time while I was picking up the Papa John's, it would say driver is picking up another customer's order and will be on the way soon, or something along those lines. Thankfully, the pizza was ready, and so was Pokey, which is the restaurant right next door where my Grubhub pickup was. Now that all the orders were picked up, it was time for step 2. I marked the Doordash and Grubhub orders as not ready and confirmed pickup on the Ubers. My first stop was about 5 minutes or 2 miles down the road. I got it dropped, and the next was about 3 minutes or half a mile across the street. After dropping off the second Uber order, I confirmed pickup on Doordash. I only had about a 4-minute or 1 mile drive over to that drop, and actually had it dropped off 4 minutes before DoorDash's expected drop-off time. And finally, after dropping off the pizza, I confirmed pickup on Grubhub and drove the remaining 5 minutes or 2 miles down the road to my final drop-off. That one stack ended up paying me about $35 for only about 40 minutes worth of work. Obviously, routes like these typically don't line up this well, but I wanted to give you an idea of how far I am currently pushing my strategy. It's very easy to do one Uber order and one DoorDash order at the same time, but as you get more confident and efficient, it's certainly possible to do at least 4. Most of my shift is usually fairly slow. I'll keep myself busy with the 625 on DoorDash all day, but you best believe that when the opportunity to stack an order arises, I always do it.
From you best believe it, goddammit. Cheers.
Like I said, these routes don't always line up perfectly, and you shouldn't try to force them to. But when they do, and you recognize that, that's when you can be pushing $30+ in an hour without being a top dasher or doing catering orders. And that's about it. Remember to take it in steps. Don't try to jump right into taking 4 orders at a time. First, get comfortable with the pause strategy or no pause strategy. Once you're comfortable running all your apps, try stacking up 1 order on DoorDash and 1 order on Uber. Remember, I suggest prioritizing your Uber drops, as Uber customers can remove tips. Also remember that you can be up to 9 minutes late to confirm arrival at the restaurant on DoorDash without any sort of penalty. Using these tips, I really hope some of you are able to bump up your hourly rate. Remember that every market is different, so you're going to have to get out there and experiment yourself to see what works, but if you take my advice and turn it into your own strategy, I promise that you can be profitable in the gig economy too. If you got any value out of this video, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video for me so that YouTube pushes this video out to other drivers. If you guys have any questions, I'll be responding to all of them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and good luck out there.